It won't stay out. I'm gonna have to tape it, but that's fine. We're doing another talking video, y'all. We're doing another talking video, and I already forgot to turn off the fans and stuff. Hold on, I'll be right back. Zelda, don't go anywhere. Don't leave. Okay, I'm back. How are y'all doing? I promised myself I'd make one long form video a month. And this is the second one. So, hey, congrats on me for actually doing it, right? But I've learned some stuff. I got some topics. I got one topic, dude. I got one topic. It's Zelda. I freaking love Zelda. And they're doing their 40th anniversary thing. And as of now, they haven't announced anything, which is kind of bonkers. I don't know. Like, why? Like, why haven't we heard anything from Nintendo about one of their biggest names? I know they're doing the movie, but we already know about that. I want to see, are we going to get a new game? Are we getting remasters, you know? Not that I really want a remaster, but at this point, I'll take what I can get. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I don't know. Life is good. It might seem silly to say, but it is. Life is good. I'm in a happy place. If you watched the last video, which I think like 7 people watched the last video, I don't know. If you're one of those 7 people, thanks. But if you watched my last video, I was talking about life stuff and about how I didn't know if I wanted to take a promotion at work because of the toll it would take in terms of like energy consumption and like bandwidth and all that good stuff. And yeah, I ended up not taking it. I decided I'm gonna give this art thing a genuine, honest to goodness try. And yeah, but enough about that. Let's talk about what we're doing today. Today I'm doing a study of an artist named Ousum. It's OUSM.C. They have an animation. I'll link to the animation. It is maybe one of my favorite animations ever. It's a short Zelda animation, and it's wonderful. It has an art style that I'm in love with, it's like watercolor based, and the art style and the animation style is so beautiful and free is the best way I could describe it. If you've seen watercolors, you know what I'm talking about. But it's so cool, and I love how like loose it is and how it's applied to animation. I'll talk about this more as I'm painting, but I wanted to do a study kind of in their style. I have a video pulled up next to me, and I wanted to do it of Zelda because I love Zelda and the animation is about Zelda, and so I just gotta pick a topic and go from there. I'll be right back. I forgot to get water. I forgot to get everything. I just turned on the camera because if I didn't turn on the camera, I would have just not started. So I'll be right back. I gotta get, oh Jesus, I gotta get water. Be right back. Okay, I just finished my coffee, and so I actually got water for myself too. And it's way the heck over here, because if you're an artist and you paint, you have had the horror of drinking paint water, which is not great. It doesn't taste good. But yeah, Zelda. What do we want to draw? What do we want to paint? My favorite Zelda is Ocarina of Time. So we can do something from there. Or maybe a Deku Shrub? Or a Korok, maybe? Hold on, I'm gonna do some research. I'll be right back. Oh, you know what? I know what we're gonna do. So, if you guys played Ocarina of Time, which you should have, if you're a Zelda fan, in my opinion, it's one of the best. It's my favorite. I think it's one of the best, and I don't think you need an excuse. If you're a Zelda fan, I don't think you need an excuse to play Zelda. You know what I mean? But freaking, there's the happy mask salesman in that game, and they give you a mask. It's the fox mask, the Keaton mask. And I remember as a kid thinking it was the coolest mask ever. I thought it was so rad. And because I thought it was so rad, I never finished the like mask salesman stuff because I refused to like get rid of it because you're supposed to give it to the guard, right? And he's like gonna give it to his son or something. But I remember as a kid being like, nah, sucker, like, like this mask is for me. Like you can go find your own mask for your kid. I don't know your kid. I don't know him like that. And just wanting to keep the mask for myself. That's probably like one of the things that if I get into like mask making or something, I'm definitely going to try to make for myself. I love it so much. I love that game so much, man. Like it's like a core memory. It was one of those games that like changed my perspective on life. Not even just like games, just life. I wasn't even supposed to get that game, dude. That game was like, I remember when it first came out, it was expensive, right? Video games are expensive. Even back in the day, I know that we talk about how expensive they are now, but they were always expensive, you know? They're a luxury. And if you're a kid coming from a lower income family, new games on launch are just not a thing. You didn't get that. I didn't get that at least. My family, you know, I remember when I got my N64, my family, you know, got it for me. And I cried, dude. I was a little kid. And I remember getting that and thinking like, I didn't deserve, like I felt like I didn't deserve it. It was so wonderful of a gift that I remember like it was the first time like I was like there's no way I was good enough for me to deserve getting this thing. And then as I got older and understood kind of like our financial situation, in retrospect it was like there's no way like we could afford this. Dang, it's dark. Do I need... To you guys, it might not be dark. To you guys, it might be like perfect. But to me, this is kind of dark. Is that too bright? I hope it's not too bright for y'all. I just needed some extra light. We'll do it like that. Maybe? Like that? There we go. But yeah, I remember when I got older, even being like, financially, like, I don't think we could afford this, like, in the position we were. And I later to find out my mom, dude, she's awesome. She's amazing. I love my mom. She was out like donating blood and getting paid for those donations to get like me and my siblings gifts for Christmas to make our Christmas, you know, special and magical and that kind of stuff. And that's not what Christmas is about. You know, the older you get, the more you realize it's just about spending time with family and like loved ones and appreciating who's still around, especially as you get older. You have Christmases where, you know, not everyone's there. But I appreciate it. I appreciate my mom for doing that for us. And that was enough, you know. And with that being said, again, we weren't rich or anything. We weren't even just kind of well off. We were surviving, and we were happy. And as a kid, that meant that we just got bargain bin games, baby. We're talking games that were sold at like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, that were in like the bargain bin that they were getting rid of. Games at flea markets, second party titles, you name it. Like, that's what we got. We didn't get new games, so we only ever played games after they had come out for, you know, a year or two or whatever, and people had sold them. And then we could get them. And I remember my dad taking us to a game shop, and me seeing Ocarina of Time and being like, Dad, I really want this game, dude. I love this game. It looks so cool. I've seen people play it. I really want to play it. And he was like, yeah, okay, let's look at it. And of course we see it, you know, it's $60 or whatever it was at the time of release. And he's like, nah, son, like, I'm sorry, like, we can't, like, that's expensive. Like, I don't know if I'm comfortable spending that much in a game. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Sorry, y'all, I stopped because people were talking outside. Don't know if you could hear that, but I could hear it. It was distracting. But what was I saying? Oh, my dad was like, oh, I don't know if we can afford this, right? And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, it's something like half that price, something like cheaper. And go figure, I look over, and one of the games that is in the price range that he has given me is Conker's Bad Fur Day. And I don't know if you guys know what Conker's Bad Fur Day is, but it is an adult game. It is not for kids. It's got a bunch of really lewd jokes. It got alcohol consumption, like not in like the like, oh, I'm drinking alcohol, but like in the I'm wasted and I have to deal with a hangover is like how the game opens. It is a wild time if you ever play that game, and I wouldn't recommend letting kids play that game. It is genuinely an adult game, but my dad didn't know that. My dad didn't know that. And I was like, oh, and me being the little shit that I was being, I knew it. My friends had that game, and I've played that game. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, if we can't get Zelda, can I get this game? And, you know, he looks at it, and you look at the front, and there's a little squirrel on it, and it looks fun. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Oh, that's cute. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And he brings the game up to he brings the game up to the register, and even the person at the register, I remember looking at the game, looking at me, then looking at my dad, and he's like, hey guy, like, just as a heads up, this is a rated M for mature, like, it's not meant for kids. Are you still cool with getting this game? And my dad, being my dad, he's like, yeah, mature, whatever. And I get the game, and I take it home and I start playing it, and my dad kind of comes in the room and sees me playing it. And dude, it takes maybe 20 seconds for him to be like, nope, I made a mistake. Like, I cannot let you play this game. And I make a big stink about it, right? I'm like, what'd you say? You said that we couldn't have the Zelda. And he's like, if you give this game back, we'll go back and we'll literally buy the game you wanted. And I was like, done, deal, done. We went back, returned Conker's Bad Fur Day, got Ocarina of Time, the rest is history. It became my favorite game, maybe one of my favorite games of all time. For sure one of my favorite games of all time. It might be my favorite game of all time. And I played the hell out of that game, dude. I think 100%ed it at one point in my life. And yeah, that game just changed like my perspective on life, dude. Like it wasn't just like a video game. It like taught me lessons and stuff. And like I remember one of the biggest lessons that it taught me was what it meant to be like a hero. And I talk about this, and I've talked about this with my friends, but like it really did genuinely change my perspective on life. Because in a bunch of other games, like, you're the hero and you get rewards for being the hero, right? You go and you save the princess and you get to marry the princess or something, or you fight all the aliens and you kill everything and you save the world and oh, you're the hero and everyone loves you. But in Ocarina of Time, and spoilers, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time, which I don't know why you wouldn't have, maybe you're just really young, maybe you just getting into Zelda, I don't know. Skip this part of the video. But at the very end of the game, for those who have played it, you know that after you kind of save the day, after you beat the bad guy, after Hyrule's safe, you're talking to Princess Zelda, and she's like, hey, like, awesome job. We did great. We did what we're set out to do. She's like, here's the issue. We gotta go back in time and we gotta reset it. And it's kind of explained to you that once you do this, like, no one's gonna remember you. No one's gonna remember what you've done. And as a kid, that's like heartbreaking, right? Like, you put in all the, like, and the thing with Zelda too is that, like, it wasn't a short game. It was one of the longer games I've played up to that point. And so you put all this time and effort into freaking saving Hyrule, man. You did all the quests, you did all the side stuff, you saved the princess, you beat the bad guy, you got stronger, you got better, you made friends, and you hear this news. And I think so easily you could look at that and be like, this is not fair, this isn't cool. And I think even as a kid, that was my gut reaction. And then I remember thinking, like, that's okay. Like, it's okay. Because that's what being a hero is about. It's not about, like, recognition. Like, you don't do good for recognition or the hopes of reward. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And I remember learning that from that game. But yeah. Like, I don't know. It still sticks with me. Like, when I do stuff for people and when I do things for friends or families or strangers, I always think of that. You know, you don't do it because you hope for a reward or recognition. You do it because it's the right thing to do. Still gets to me, man. Alright, the sketch is done. I could, like, work it, but the point of this art style, to kind of change the topic back to actual art, the point of this art style, it's super simple, super loose, and so really basic colors, really simple backgrounds. Well, that's not true, but the thing I love about this art style is that it's pretty complex. Like, the imagery and all the stuff that they get across is really complex, but where they choose to put the detail and where they choose to put lines specifically is all really strategic. So if it's not the main focus, it doesn't get lines. It's all just painted, and it's beautifully painted, but there are no real lines. And everything is like washes. It's just so cool. If you haven't watched the animation, please go watch the animation. It's got 17,000 views, and that's a freaking shame. It is one of the coolest animations that I've seen, and it's one of my favorite animations. And if the Zelda animation, we get on it. Okay, let's get this. I start with a wash. How does he paint? Hold on, let me look at some of these frames to see how to go about this. It's so simple, dude. It's so simple. There's really not a ton to it. This brush is probably even too big for what I want to do. Hold on. Let's get the right kind of brush. I'll do a simple blue-green kind of thing, a light blue if I have that. Do I have that? I love using paints that are, like, dried up and stuff when it comes to, like, because this is gouache. I don't know if have I ever explained that? This is gouache, and it's how it's described as, like, opaque watercolor. But the nice thing about it, the thing that I really like about it, is that it basically can just work as watercolor if you apply enough water to it, right? Which should make sense. If it's opaque watercolor and you just water it down, well then it's just normal watercolor. And I always liked using it like that. It makes me think like maybe I should just switch to watercolor, but there's a lot of like benefits to like how thick you can get it if you want it to be thicker, that I'm just not willing to trade off. So we're just gonna make a simple kind of blue background, nothing really interesting going on back there. Our guy's gonna be the main focus. Don't do that. There we go. Our guy's gonna be the main focus. Our guy, Link, is gonna be our main focus. He's wearing the Keaton mask, so it's gonna be blue, green, and yellow. A good little color combination there. So yeah, I'm working on some animation, and the reason I want to do a study on this is because after I came across this dude's style, it reminded me of, if you guys have ever watched the anime Ranking of Kings, which is probably one of my favorite anime in regards to art style. And what you'll find if you watch that guy's animation and then you watch Ranking of Kings is that there's a lot of similarities. The way they handle backgrounds and what do you call it? The way they handle backgrounds and environments is very similar. It feels very watercolory, very impressionistic, if that's the right word. And I love it. I know there's some people who I think there were some people who apparently like really didn't. They thought it was just unappealing for whatever reason. I am not one of those people. I thought it was wonderful. And I started thinking, one of the things that I want to start trying to do is be more intentional with my art. And what I mean is, like, I've always been just like fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. Just like start scribbling and whatever happens, happens. If it's cool, it's cool. If it isn't, it isn't. But go figure, the more thought and the more preparation I put into something, the better the results end up being, right? And something I've never really given too much thought about is like what my style is. It was never really a concern. You know, I figured a couple things. Like one, style comes naturally, and two, style is a conglomeration of like all the influences that you have in your life, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't be intentional with what those influences are. That doesn't mean that I can't choose and select the things I like from my favorite artists, apply them to my art, and then eventually over time all those things from every other source squishes together, and then that becomes your style. That's my kind of take on it, is that like style is not original. A lot of people are so worried about originality, but like every style is just a collection of other people's art, but just, you know, picked little bits here and there, all squished together. And that's anyone, right? Like, look at your favorite artists. They have all their inspirations, and then you look at those artists, and they have their inspirations. And even like the masters, the greats, you know, the Michelangelos and Leonardo, all the Ninja Turtles, they had their inspirations. They worked from their masters, and it just goes back and back and back and back. So yeah, I decided like I'm gonna start picking the things that I love the most about my favorite artists, the individual things, not entire styles, and then start slowly building an actual style for me. And I think this watercolor kind of way of doing backgrounds and rendering things, I think it's going to be a part of it, because a lot of my favorite works kind of have that. Like every time I see it, I'm always blown away. Zelda did this in shoot, what was it? Spirit Tracks. Their ending art. They have like this little art slideshow. It's so good. It was either Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass. The art was so cool. I freaking loved it. I'm letting this dry, by the way, while I yap. But yeah, Zelda, man, 40th anniversary, 40 years. That's older than I am. Not by a whole lot, but by enough. You know, Pokemon's doing their 30th. Just amazing. I'm so happy I'm around to see like what they have next. Even though I'm not not super happy with Nintendo at the moment, I'll be honest. I wish they were. I don't know what they're doing with the Switch 2 and this whole trend of like people not owning things anymore. It gets to me, man. I don't know. If you're gonna spend that much money on something and then for someone to tell you like, oh, okay, it's not yours and you're not allowed to do what you want with it, that pisses me off. I think it's just a really bad move. You know, you worked hard, or it was a gift. You know, you should be allowed to do what you want with it. If you want to mod, you should be allowed to mod your stuff. You know, if you want to screw around with that and risk breaking it, that's your, like, it should be your choice, right? I would never do it. I wouldn't mod a new system. That's just not who I am. But I think you should have the choice to mod a new system. If you want, you know, if you spend $600, $700 on something and you want a chance to do that, you should be allowed to do that. No one should be able to tell you that you can't. You know, and Nintendo, and then on top of that, they're not like really releasing games for their system. It just doesn't sit well, and like it hurts me to say it because I love Nintendo. That's my childhood, man. I'm a Nintendo kid. I love Nintendo, but for a long time, you know, and for foreseeable future, it just gets harder and harder to support them. Like, please stop, Nintendo. I love you. It's like that fucking scene from Star Wars where Princess Padme's like, Anakin, you're breaking my heart. It's that shit. That's how I feel. I'm like, why are you doing this? Alright. Something else in this animation that I'm seeing is that there's not a lot of shading. Which there's not a lot of shading on the main subject. Which makes sense for animation, right? Because it would just mean that you can animate quicker. But I'm not a fan of that part. So I think I will add shading. I already like automatically added shading, but I think I am gonna add shading to it. Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna do. There's nothing else to really talk about. Oh man, but yeah, dude, Zelda, favorite franchise of all time. I'm not a collector. It's also one of the only things that I collect. I want to have one of every Zelda game. And I want to play every Zelda game. It's a thing that I do every year is I beat one Zelda game, and my logic is that if you don't beat one Zelda game a year, Ganon wins. Right. If you don't beat one Zelda game a year, Ganon wins. And so I beat one Zelda game a year, and what's funny is at first it was a joke. I was like, haha, like I'm gonna beat one Zelda game a year. I did it for like 5 years in a row. And then one year I didn't. One year I didn't do it. I was like, I don't have the time. And then terrible stuff happened. I was like, what the hell? I think like COVID happened. And then I was like, okay. And so I started beating Zelda games again. And then I stopped. I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it. So I stopped playing. And then Trump got elected. And in my part of the world, that wasn't fun. That wasn't good. And so now I'm like, yo, I think actually I need to beat these games. Because bad shit happens when I don't beat these games. And so now I've kind of become superstitious about it. And I would beat a Zelda game every year from now on for you guys, so that bad shit stops happening. Which I think it's funny that every time I don't play a Zelda game, something weird happens, and I'm sure it's just there's a scientific word for it when you like link like bad or positive experiences to like other stuff, like something biased. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a scientific explanation for it, and I'm 100% sure that's what it is. But life is a little bit more fun if you like are irrational on certain things, right? Not everything. You know, don't ignore science. Don't be like some of these stupid people who put others at risk and are doing dumb stuff. But like for silly things like this, like, oh no, I gotta beat a Zelda game every year, something crazy's gonna happen. It's not hurting anyone. And it just makes my life more whimsical. And like, I need more whimsy. I need more whimsy in my life. I think we all do. So that's my thing. I beat a Zelda game every year. I don't know what Zelda game I'm going to beat this year, though. Last year, I beat Echoes of Wisdom, the one where you actually play as Zelda. And I liked it. I don't know how it received. I don't go online too much. Because the internet is a lot. It is a lot. But it does mean that I get to experience things and make my own opinions about them. And I liked it. I thought it was fun. Would recommend, especially if you're like a first time Zelda player or like a first time video game person. I think it's like a really nice like entry level game. There's not a lot at stake. You can kind of heal whenever you want. Whenever you, like, one of the first items you get is a bed, and you can I don't know if you guys can hear that. I have noisy neighbors who have a dog apparently. But what was I gonna say? Oh, one of the first items you get in that game is a bed, and you can just sleep whenever you want. Like, you can just use the bed to sleep. And the thing about sleeping is that it heals your health. It takes a little bit, but you can heal basically whenever you want, which is, I think, unheard of in a Zelda game. I don't think there's any other Zelda game that lets you do that. But yeah, you can just heal whenever you want. So like the risk of dying is pretty low. It's just a nice, fun game. You know, there are definitely more challenging games. I won't say that it's like hard or anything like that, but it is fun, and it's super like, it's very Breath of the Wild in the sense that like you can kind of solve the problems however you want, man. However you see fit. There is a solution that you see. You probably can use it. You probably can actually use that item or use the idea you have. It provides a lot of freedom in that regard. Like lots and lots of freedom in that regard. This is coming out alright. This is coming out alright. Trust the process, bud. Alright. The question is, do I want to put anything in the background? I kind of do. But I think I set this up in a way that it doesn't make sense. Let's do some more research. I'm watching this animation and seeing if there's like any background elements that I can add. that would feel natural after putting down all that blue. Could do like a sunset maybe, like a mountain range. I don't know. Nah, I think I'm gonna leave it blank. I think he'll be the focal point. And like I said, you can see it's super messy, it's super loose, but I like it. I like it, man. I genuinely like it. I'll have to work my backgrounds later, but yeah. I'm gonna let this dry. The goal for these videos, by the way, is to try to keep them at about an hour, which is why I like doing live painting stuff, because like there's only so much futzing around I can do before I completely ruin it, which forces me to keep moving forward. In turn, I've found that in about an hour, I usually get a finished piece. Which, when it comes down to it, that is not a lot of time, man. In 1 hour, to have something that's like pretty good, pretty decent, heck yeah. I kind of lost track what I was talking about. That's okay. I'm just talking the topic. The nice thing is I actually, last video I was rambling about anything because I just didn't think of like a topic. This time it's Zelda. It's Zelda and it's this specific animation style. So if I run out of things to talk about, it's okay, I'll just go back to Zelda. And be like, you remember that time that fish loved you? Yeah, but I sure do. I do sure remember Princess Ruto and her dad who's like, womp, womp, womp. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please play it. Please play it. And actually, oh, that's what I was talking about. What Zelda game should I beat this year? Was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. I did Majora's Mask for the first time ever. I'm a Zelda fan and I never played through Majora's Mask. It was just one of those games that I didn't get around to. And I played it and I get it, dude. I am someone who does not like time limits. No, that's not true. I don't like repetitive tasks. And I think time travel in games most of the time is done pretty poorly. It's not to the fault of the game maker. It's just a really hard mechanic, dude. There's so many things that need to go right for it to work. And it's just something that's really hard to like to freaking get right. This is hard. Just hard. And Majora's Mask, I think, is a master study in like how to do a time mechanic correctly. It is so good. I never once felt like any task I was doing was monotonous. There's so much to explore. There's so much in like 3 days. In like a couple of areas, they've packed so much into that game. And if you haven't heard like how it was developed or why, like look into that. There are essay videos about it. It's so cool. But yeah, man, I was playing that game and I realized I had not beat my Zelda game for the year. And I was racing to beat the game on the last day of the year, New Year's Eve. And I was trying to beat it and I barely missed my deadline. I beat it right around like 12:45 or something like that in the morning, so I missed my deadline by 45 minutes. And go figure, the year was kind of half good, half bad. So I gotta make sure to beat my Zelda games early. But I don't know which one I'm gonna do this year. I think I'm probably gonna do a handheld one because I haven't done a ton of the handheld ones. When I was younger, I did the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, but that was about it. And so I've been kind of working my way through handheld Zelda games, and I like them, man. It's really fun. And with Nintendo Online, talking about Nintendo and things that they did that I actually enjoy, Nintendo Online I like, because buddy, if you want to play Zelda games in 2026 and you want to buy an original, let's say you're like, nah, I'm gonna go old school, I'm gonna play on an N64, I'm gonna buy the cartridge of Ocarina of Time, I'm gonna play that game. That shit's gonna run you money. It is not affordable anymore, man. I remember when you were collecting retro games, and it was a thing you did with like spare cash you had. And now, if you want to collect a retro game, in a lot of cases, especially with like well-known brands, it's like you have to save up, and it's just rough, man. Because I genuinely think everyone should be able to play these games, and so like the fact that they have the Nintendo catalog and they got a lot of the bigger games on there, to me is wonderful. You know, I know there's a lot of people who talk about like remakes and that kind of stuff. I'm just practicing with the brush, by the way. I just want to make sure that I don't ruin this piece by messing up. Alright. But yeah, I'm gonna use a brush to ink. A lot of time I use oh my god, what the hell is that called? The fountain pen. Jesus. A lot of time I use a fountain pen, but I found that I actually like the brush more. It's just easier to use and it's more versatile, but opinion, right? Everyone has their own kind of preference and style. Should I erase? Is this dry? I think I should probably erase. But oh man, I completely blanked on what the fuck I was talking about. Oh, collecting. Yeah, man, it's just an ordeal now to try to collect. So the fact that you can play like Ocarina of Time on the Zelda, the retro console, and the fact that it's available on the Switch 1, you know, the console that you get to have and do stuff with, is even better. Even better. But yeah, one of the nice things about that is that I really like the Switch because I can play it wherever I am. And I can play it in bed. And they have a lot of the handheld stuff on there from the Game Boy Advance, and I know Minish Cap is on there. And I think I'm going to do Minish Cap next, because I've never done Minish Cap. There are two games that I really want to beat. One of them, Minish Cap. The other one is the Four Swords. But I want to play through Four Swords with friends. And the fact that you can do that now, dude. And you could just do it on your Switch. That's amazing. I remember I've always wanted to play Four Swords. To try to get Four Swords running before that was fucking insane, dude. It was an ordeal because you not only needed, and maybe I'm getting this wrong, but this is how I remember it. You had to get you had to have 3 friends, and that for a lot of people was already like, oh my god. You had to have 3 friends. You had to have 3 friends that were into Nintendo stuff and were into Zelda stuff. Already, that's a thing, right? Then you had to have one of them who had a GameCube. Not too outlandish. Then that GameCube guy had to have 4 Swords on the GameCube. And you're like, okay, whatever. You have to have a game on a system. That's not that big a deal. You're right, it isn't. Except, in order to play that game with other people, each of those friends had a Game Boy Advance. And each of those Game Boy Advances had to have the Four Swords game and a link cable in order to play the freaking game. And the link cable had to plug into the GameCube. Yeah. And it was just an ordeal, dude. I don't think I ever got more than one other person at any given time under those circumstances to play that freaking game. And now you can just get in the room with 4 other people who have a Switch. And as long as they're paying for the membership, bam, you can play that game. And I want you to guys know that is like 12-year-old me's fantasy. That was... They weren't dreaming about supermodels or anything else. It was just, I wish there was an easier way to play this game with all my friends. And now there is. Now there is. So if I can, my only problem with that is I would need to get 3 of my friends, which I have 3 friends, go figure, to be willing to play that with me before the year is up. I need to ask them if they would be down, which they would be. It's just a matter of when you're an adult, linking up schedules and making sure everyone is on the same page and willing to like dedicate the time to do something like that, whether it's playing a video game or D&D or whatever. It gets harder, but you just gotta put in the effort, you know? You gotta just make sure that you dedicate the time. I always make it a priority to put my friends as a priority, as like a, we have to hang out. I have to like get out of the house. I have to make sure that I'm spending time with my friends because I love them and I always feel good after we hang out, right? It's always a positive experience and I want to have those experiences with them. I'm like being quiet now because this is the tricky part. Because if I mess this part up with my shaky ass hand because I didn't eat breakfast, the whole painting kind of is fucked. So excuse me while I focus on this. Shaky hand is not a big deal because the style is pretty loose. But if I go too far out, there's no recovering. So like here, I went a little bit far out, but I can use that to my advantage. I can always adapt. This is a nice thing about doing traditional art. You don't have a Control Z, which a lot of people I think would find as a definite disadvantage. I argue it's an advantage because you at some point have to just learn to deal with what you've done. And then you just make the best of it. And that's a skill that I think digital artists, like if you only do digital art, I don't think you get. I don't think you have the chance to have, because that would require you to purposely not use Control Z. You know what I mean? And like, who's not gonna use Control Z? It's super useful. So yeah, do traditional art. You learn to deal with that fear, and I think you're better for it, honestly. I think it's a skill that all artists should have to learn, because once you deal with that, then it's not, a lot of other stuff just becomes easier. Like, you're not so worried about a line not being in the perfect place, or, you know, oh, this line's thicker than this line, and oh no, this is darker, and like, who gives a shit? Like, you're like, I know, and it's fine, I can deal with it. Yeah, man. This is something. I definitely have room for improvement. I do want to get better at my line control in certain points. But there's something here. There's something to this style. I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, man. Maybe I need to pick up watercolors. Maybe using gouache. I like love the idea of getting really good with gouache, and I like using gouache a lot, but I think maybe my soul yearns for watercolor, if that makes sense. I think like maybe it's just a natural match. But that doesn't mean I can't experiment with other stuff. There we go. And this ear is bigger than this ear. That's okay. We can, like I said, we can kind of work with what we got and cheat it a little bit by using the line thickness. Yeah, there we go. But now I'm just going back and just adding some thickness to the parts where like shadow would be. Oof, controlling this brush is actually kind of hard. There we go. Some dark areas. Where are we at? 54 minutes? Easy, bud. Easy. Finishing touches, maybe even grab some highlights. There's something to this. I'm glad I did this study, because there's definitely something to this. And the more I practice, guess what? The better I'll get. As long as I practice with intention, with like a purpose, you know? Hey, there's something here, buddy. I like this. I like how this is turning out. There's definitely something here. I could do like, yeah, I could do something with this. There is potential here, and that is all this was about. It's just seeing, is there something actually here? Oh, buddy. Yeah. I like it. It's always nice whenever, like, you get to an end of a piece and you're like, actually, yes. Actually, yes. Oh, man, oh, man. After this, I'm probably going to stretch, and then I'm going to sit down and start working on that animation. And I'm probably going to apply a lot of this just digitally. So, yeah, thanks for, I don't know, I could keep rambling, but let's peel off this tape, being careful because this is still wet. But, thanks for joining me. And letting me ramble about Zelda and how much I love it. I think having a topic this time, we're gonna get those good peelies, man. I think having a topic this time really made a difference. It was way easier to talk. Also just jumping into it. Just going. I only have to do one of these a month. I don't even have to. I get to. I get to do one of these a month. And hopefully it becomes a thing. Hopefully people start drawing and painting with me. I've always liked draw-alongs. I like what? Whoa, no! I ripped the page off. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. We can save this. I think we can save this. Okay. I ripped the page. Oh, shit. Okay. Hold on. We're performing surgery here. If it rips, at least it rips away from the piece. Oh my god. Do you guys see that right here? Oh shit. It'll be fine. The last piece was on the back, so it'll be okay. Oh no. Whatever. At least it didn't actually rip the piece. Let's be more careful with these next ones. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble. Thanks for, if you watch these videos, man, like the whole thing, holy cow, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy, I hope you're either working, you're doing a study maybe with me, maybe you're working on a project or just some work, I'm just on the background, you're not even watching me, you're like, yeah, whatever. Painting, but maybe you just like hearing me talk, man. I know I'm that way, where I just like having people in the background chatting about stuff they like and that kind of stuff. Hey buddy, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. I like it. Oh my god! I am a mess, dude. I'm just making messes. I wanted to show you guys my trash can. I got it from Daiso, and then I put the googly eyes on it. Please go back on. Please don't embarrass me in front of everyone. Okay, I don't know how to fix this, but look. It's a bare trash can, and I put googly eyes on it, and he's like, feed me your trash, blah, and you just go, and then delicious. But now I won't go back down. What did I do? Did I break it? Maybe I just gotta empty it out. Anyway, that's that. And look at that. 59 minutes, baby. And I'm gonna edit this, so it's gonna be even shorter. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it if you've made it this far. And yeah, if you would like me to talk about anything or like me to paint something, even just leave it in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you next month. Later.